Well, we had a down day just to kickstart trade. Plenty of headwinds, really. The Asian markets, they were under some pressure. The Hang Seng was down more than 500 points. The GST collections weren't that great. And auto sales numbers as well were relatively slower. But for the time being, the Nifty is quite resilient. We are pulled back from the low point of the day. And those IT stocks, they are fighting for the bulls today. Infosys, TCS, both those two stocks holding in the green. And a contribution chart will tell you, if not for both these two stocks, well, we would have been down easily close to around 40 to around 50 points. Our contribution chart should come up for you on the screen. Hey, Manglam.
Hi, Nigel. Just as we speak, we're getting in some manufacturing PMI, 53.2 versus 54. Not a bad number. Usually above 51 is what it means an expansion in the economy. Less than that would mean a bit of a contraction. So, second month running, we are growing as far as the manufacturing PMI is concerned. But the auto stocks, they're not doing too well. So, we have, all of them lower. The one losing from the top is Eicher Motors, down about 5.5%. When you're trading at valuations that you are more than double your other peers, you cannot afford to disappoint as far as the growth is concerned. Remember, and this was also the quarter without any one-offs for the Royal Enfield. Other couple of stocks as well which are losing right now. L&T, that one's at the low point of the day, adding to some pressure. Along with that, we have ITC too. The good part is, though, we're seeing some buying in select stocks. Asian Paints at the high point of the day. Along with that, we have Reliance and HUL too recovering from the lows. All that and more over the next half an hour. First up, all the top stories that we're tracking. Eicher Motors, the top loser on the Nifty today after Royal Enfield sales disappoint in December. Motilal Oswal cuts their EPS estimate by 6% and for FY20 by 9%. Tata Motors, two trades in week after total sales in December come in lower by 10%. The company says high interest rates and rising costs impacted the December sales.
And Mahindra, two trades week after week December sales. Mr. Pawan Goenka tells cnbc TV 18 that November and December months were used to sell off piled up inventory, and he expects some turnaround in the fourth quarter of this year.
Metal stocks, they topped the Nifty losers list today on fears of a global slowdown. The China December kicks in manufacturing PMI contracts for the first time since May 2017.
And Jet Airways trades week after the company delays interest and principal installment due to its lenders on December 31st. They say that it's due to temporary cash flow mismanagement.
The PSU banks, they're modestly higher as against the other parts of the market, and this after the RBI has allowed a one-time restructuring of the MSME loans not exceeding 25 crore rupees. Experts don't see any material impact of this move, while rating agencies like ICRA tell cnbc TV 18 that RBI's forbearance can actually spoil credit culture in the MSME sector.
All right, how do you trade the Nifty from here? It appears, at least initially, the dip was bought, but let's see whether or not it's sustainable. From the broader markets, D-Link is a stock that suddenly spiked up in the last few minutes, so I don't know whether there's some news flow. Volumes picking up on that one as well, so maybe you could get the intraday chart of D-Link that suddenly moved to the high point of the day. Keep an eye out on that one. But how do you trade the Nifty from here? Ashwini Gujral's with us. Hi Ashwini, good morning. What's the trade on the Nifty at around 10,880 odd?
See, we went home long yesterday and we've added to those long positions. My sense is by 11 a.m. The bears will throw in the towel and at least the bank Nifty will start to make fresh highs. Today the good news is lever is higher, IT is higher, the large banks are participating well. So I don't think this sort of little bit of drawdown is going to last for a while, and this is the time for people to get long, and then when the market starts to expand, they can enjoy the upside. Dow futures was down about 200, say 1 hour back. That's recovering now about 170. So that way I think the market more and more is finding support at higher and higher levels. And adding on to long positions may be worthwhile because we are getting very close to some sort of expansion coming in. This 200-point range, 10,800 to 11,000 will not last for too long. Having said that, property stocks are doing very well. So Godrej Property is a buy with a stop of 660, target of 685. L&T Infotech is a buy with a stop of 1730, target of 1810. And Jubilant Food is a buy with a stop of 1260, target of 1310.
Right. Ashwini, a couple of stocks that are moving from the F&O space. We have something like an NIIT Tech at the highs of the day, was a star of 2018, starts 2019 well as well, 83% in just the last 12 months. Along with that, we have Pidilite too, which is pretty close to its record highs as we speak. So what would you suggest on these two stocks, NIIT Tech and Pidilite?
See, FMCG has come back strongly today. Lever, Jubilant Food. Pidilite had corrected towards almost its 200-day moving average. So good day to buy into Pidilite, can get back to 1200. I think mid-cap IT also is kind of bottoming out and slowly moving up. So NIIT Tech, in my opinion, has bottomed out and it was a call earlier. I think it should slowly head towards 1280, 1300. And more, as the markets recover from drawdowns these days, the mid-caps tend to outperform. So definitely there's buying on dips on all of these, quote-unquote quality mid-caps.
Disclosures?
We have long positions on Bank Nifty from yesterday, added on today. And, basically the view is bullish and we should head on the upside, maybe today itself.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Ashwini. Well, the big drag really today has been the auto stocks. Yesterday and today as well, they did disappoint. We got a couple of numbers that came in today, as well as some disappointing numbers. Yesterday, Nimesh is with us, filling in for Sonia to run us through all the numbers till now. Nimesh.
Thanks, Nigel. So, the biggest disappointment came from Eicher Motors. As we discussed in the morning as well, the stock has reacted negatively. The biggest F&O loser as well, down 5%. Big disappointment in terms of, December sales, significantly lower than street expectations. So, it came in at 58,000 units, down in 13% YOY, and way below number estimate of close to 70,000 units. So, clearly not gone down well with the street. In fact, most of the brokerages after the numbers have scaled down their FY19 and FY20 volumes, volume targets, and also cut the EPS between 6 to 9% for FY19 and FY20. So that's the biggest loser in trade today. Ashok Leyland came in the morning, again disappointing in terms of total sales at 15,000 units versus Nomura's expectation of 16,500 units. Even if you look at YOY, the December sales are down 20%. The only positive point for Ashok Leyland was that the light commercial vehicles have seen some bit of uptake, and that volumes were up close to 30% at 4,100 units. So still not very good as far as the total sales are concerned. Bajaj Auto, while the numbers were lower than what Nomura's expectations was, but still, if you look at YOY, that's the only company which is showing a positive growth, and that number has grown 18% YOY. So total sales were up 18%, though slight tad lower than what Nomura was expecting, but still better than what others have been faring in that space. So if you look at all the numbers across the street, Bajaj Auto stands out in the two-wheeler space, and Escort stands out in the tractor sales. Apart from that, whether it's M&M, Maruti, Eicher Motors, everybody has seen a disappointment. And across the street, there's been a EPS cut for Maruti and Eicher Motors.
Absolutely, Nimesh. Thanks a lot for that, talking about Bajaj Auto and Escort standing out, but nothing else doing too well. But in the auto space itself, in fact, Atul Auto should come up for you. That one's up around 5% as we speak. Remember this, after a 20% move that we saw yesterday as well. And this is because this company also showed about a 50% uptake as far as their monthly sales are concerned. So that's Atul Auto. But on that note, earlier we spoke with the managements for both M&M and Bajaj Auto right here on CNBC, and this is what he had to say.
The primary setback to the auto industry and also to some extent tractor industry was the festive season, where during Dasara Diwali, the retail sales were nowhere near what was expected by the industry. As a result of that, a lot of inventory was built up with the dealers because the billing, the wholesale, was done in anticipation of retail. And the month of November and December have, I think most companies have used for cleaning up. And therefore, don't let the billing numbers or the wholesale numbers be an indicator of what's happening in the industry in the last 2 months. And my sense is that end of December, everyone has come down to the industry inventory level of where they want to be. January, February, March should see sort of true reflection of where the demand is. I would not say that there has not been some softening of sentiment, some softening of demand. There has been. But I think it's all led simply by what happened in October and September because of everything kind of being wrong at that time. The interest rates, the exchange rate, the oil prices, commodity prices, and I think that's what we are seeing in November, December also. And therefore, I would expect some turnaround in January, February, March. Though I must admit that last year, January, February, March was a very high base, and therefore to get a significant increase from last year will be a reasonably difficult thing to do. I'm not at all concerned about market share. In this industry, as I've always said, nobody gains substantially in a given year, nobody loses substantially in a given year, and a little bit up and down keeps happening. Last year, January, February, March was a very high base year, and therefore I would be very surprised if we see in the industry a significant growth over last year. As of YTD December, the industry is at about 13.2, 13.3% growth. I would expect that the fourth quarter should be between 0 to 5% growth. And therefore, we'll end up somewhere around 12% growth for the industry, for the tractor industry.
The domestic commercial vehicles, you see a decline because you see last December was a little bit of a bumper month because there was a significant release of permits in Mumbai. And in Mumbai market, we have like a 96% market share. So you're seeing the base effect. But we are not at all concerned about any slowdown in the CV domestic business for January and February, March. I think that we should start to see slightly better numbers, growth numbers for the domestic motorcycles industry. Large parts of Africa and the entire Latin America in exports, the retail sales peak between a period of October to December. You will actually see a slowdown in the exports business from December to Feb. And but the underlying, there is no underlying issue over there. We will see slightly lower numbers in exports, but that's just a season effect.